This is Travis.
This is Jonathan.
And we'd like to welcome you to the 100 Ways to Love a Cat podcast.
That is the podcast that eventually plays the song 100 Ways to Love a Cat.
And that's coming up. We haven't strayed from that premise.
Nope.
That's
been
been
the
it.
Backbone of this show. And
Absolutely.
And it's going to continue to be.
I think so.
We're going to continue to do the show. There's been sort of a roller coaster for the last 3, 4, 5 episodes where we...
A roller coaster where it mattered. Like we were on a roller coaster before the past 3 or 4 episodes, but it was just kind of like, it didn't matter. If you're doing a loop-de-loop or going, none of that mattered.
And roller coasters don't matter. If you're on a roller coaster, it's sort of a waste of time. If you're a child, it's just nonsense. And if you're an adult, you should know better. But I'm talking about a roller coaster of the roller coaster of life that we've been on. And we went from, I would say, 4 listeners to 9,000 listeners, number one podcast in the world.
It was the number one podcast in the world. We can still, no matter where we're at today, no matter what happens, no matter if we're living in the gutter next week, we will always be able to say that we had the number one podcast in the world with 9,000 listeners.
And that's something that future people are not going to be able to say, because the podcast authority, because so many people over the last couple of weeks stopped listening to podcasts, they just stopped ranking them. They said no more. It's sort of like when a terrorist blows something up and the stock market goes crazy, and they just say, hey, we're just not going to do this anymore. Mm-hmm. That's what happened. So no more ranking. So we don't know.
We don't know.
We don't know how many people we have listening. We don't know what number we are. It doesn't matter. If you're doing a podcast for any reason other than you have a free afternoon, you're doing something wrong.
I think so. And ultimately, the internet itself is going to crash one day, and everything on there is going to be gone. And all the pictures that you put up there, all these rankings and these 9, number one podcast in the world. Now, that's not going to matter because there'll be nothing. It'll all be gone.
Nothing. And then you'll say, where'd the internet go? And you'll look out the window and the earth will be burning, and there won't be any of that either.
Nope.
So we're just marking time until our inevitable doom.
But I can't think of a better way to mark time. Spending time with my friend, listening to
a great song.
A song
about cats.
A song about cats, our favorite animal, I think it's safe to say.
That's the root of it. It's like one of those albums when somebody's old and music changed so much and they can't keep up with it. And then somebody says, well, why don't you just do it the way you used to do it for the old people? And they put out the album and everybody's like, oh, yeah, that was good.
Remember when they did that?
Yeah. So that's what we're doing. We're going back to that.
And like I said, you get caught up in these facts and figures and these numbers, and it just strips away why you were doing this in the first place. Because then you think it's all about money. It's all about castles. It's all about toilets. It's all about...
I lived in the fast lane.
As did I.
How was your open house?
It was mainly just friends of the groundskeeper, so they were kind of similar to him. And
eccentrics.
Yeah, so I really don't know what to make of anything that they tell me. Like, are you interested or are you not? I don't know. I was really hoping that there would be. I guess I need to put an ad in a different newspaper.
I don't want to overstep, but if I could recommend something,
sure.
2 things. Definitely a different newspaper.
Okay. First off,
definitely
yes, not a problem.
Number 2, what I thought was an accidental disaster, 100% accidental, when my apartment units burned this past week. It turns out with the insurance money, and it was the best thing that could have happened.
It's terrible that it happened to the tenants, for some of them anyway.
Oh, sure.
But
for
the situation that you were in, that they were putting you in, let's be honest, they were putting you in that position.
Sure.
It wasn't like you chose to be hounded and harassed day and night. They did that, and evidently one of them
who knows?
Started a fire, I guess.
I mean,
don't know.
Who knows? Nobody's ever going to find out what happened.
Well, I'm just glad.
But what a great accident
that it happened for you. Yeah, I don't know. the castle, the chances of it catching fire, I think, are minimal because electricity doesn't really work in it. There's some wires that run, and there was light, but it's all kerosene. Well, kerosene, but again, when things are made of stone and rock and
maybe some sort of explosion.
Maybe
kind of blow from the inside that would blow the rock.
Sure, I think that would probably do the trick if that's
flammable.
With the water that's in there, as contaminated as it appears, I would think if anybody dropped a match in that thing, that sucker would light up.
Let me tell you,
it's like there's just a chemical film on the top of it, because I've seen bugs will land. You know how the water bugs will land on top of the water. They try to land on this moat and they dissolve.
Well, there's got to be something to that. Then I would say maybe if you can find some sort of container that will hold it, scoop some up and toss it at the walls. And accidentally, if something like that were to happen. You know what? Listen, some of the new recruits in my new recruit class in the Air Force, a lot of them know about explosions. They're like, what do you do? A lot of them are like, I just, I hung around the farm. I blew stuff up. I know how to set fires.
Well, that's a trade. That's what, if you're in the Air Force, you need to know how to blow stuff up. Otherwise, they don't want you there.
Oh yeah, and there's a look in their eyes like they do not care what they blow up.
Right.
So these are going to be valuable people. Like I can see the officers when they look at them, they're afraid and they're happy they're there, and they're like, okay, we just have to kind of try to contain what they're good at and just not let it go full bore.
I see.
And when they look at me, they're just like, oh, right. Mm-hmm. They're like, this is sort of an experiment to see. And they're like, so I'm just doing a lot of, the buffer on the floors?
Sure.
I'm doing a lot of that.
Oh, okay.
So janitorial.
Well, you have experience in that. So, that's something you know about. It's not like they're throwing you for a loop with anything.
That's the thing. When you go in, if what you've done mostly is just set fires on farms, they're going to look to you to continue down that road.
Sure.
And if you've done like podcasting and some janitorial, they're gonna focus on the janitorial.
Well, they don't have anything, available for podcasting.
You know what?
Yet.
They had a program.
A what?
They were a program. They had a program they were starting for podcasting.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I would have been in on the ground floor, but what happened was people just stopped listening, and then the idea, just saying the word podcast, made people cringe, like the word moist. And they said, no, we can't have the armed forces associated with anything like this.
Well, they have a reputation to uphold. The Air Force, that's a big deal.
You can do it on your free time. But
if the Air Force had a failing podcast, we would think twice about calling them up in times of,
like you do a podcast and
jeopardy.
And we want you to fly a plane around? No.
Yeah. That's. But we are doing a podcast here, and I do own a dilapidated castle that I'm interested in. If you're interested, I'm interested in talking to you about purchasing said castle. Again, it was a dream of mine as a child. And I remember I said dreams, it doesn't matter how old you are. But when you're older, you should have different dreams, I've determined. It shouldn't be the same dream that you had, which is fine. For a 9-year-old, of course, live in a castle. Absolutely. I should have let that go or grown out of that.
You shouldn't have even remembered it. It should be a thing where somebody's like, hey, remember when you talked about owning a castle? And you'd be like,
I was an idiot. Yeah. I was just 9-year-old.
Or just like, what?
Dummy.
I didn't. No, I didn't.
Yeah. But for some reason it stuck with me. And again, I guess because I continued to drive past it throughout life. And which, again, that doesn't make sense because you should have seen, do I really want to live in that? By the fourth time,
You don't know. When you're a grown-up, it's different than when you're a kid.
The 45th time you drive past it, it's kind of like, I don't. Anyway. Change your dreams. If the ones that you thought were good that are coming true and turn out not to be, change them. That's all you have to do.
Keep some dreams, but make them like, I want to have a savings account.
Right. Those, and also there are other dreams, as long as they remain unattainable, they're going to be safe. They'll always be dreams.
Oh yeah, those are good to have.
Those are good to have.
Like I want to be rich.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah.
it's fine to have it as a dream, and it's pleasant to sit back and dream on and think about it. But
so I have dreams like that. I have dreams like, oh, I want a robot arm, and then I have dreams like I'd like a full box of Band-Aids in the cabinet when I cut myself.
That's the one. You know what? I'm going to Rite Aid today.
Do that.
Yeah, I'm making that come true. So yeah, have a mixture.
I'm so tired of the paper towel wrapped tightly around my finger when I nick it.
Have a mixture of dreams that can come true, very minimal ones, and then the other dreams are so lavish and extravagant that they are completely unattainable. If you can stay on those two extremes with your dreams, you're going to be all right. You're going to be okay. Let's play 100 Ways to Love a Cat. That's what we're here to do. That's what we're going to do, and we're not going to stop.
I want to. I need it.
No matter how many of you people who are not listening want us to stop, and that's how you're trying to tell us to stop is by not listening. Guess what? And there's no point in me saying this because you're not listening now. But
your argument holds no weight because you don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, because if you're not listening, then we're not even talking to you. So how do you feel about that? We're not even. You're not the people we're concerned with.
They're not worth it, Travis.
Unless, of course, they wanted to start.
They're not going. Well, maybe. Well, maybe. What could we do to? No. Can't go down this road.
No, we're going to play 100. This is what we came here to do. This is what we're going to continue to do. And to hell with everything else.
That's the spirit.
That's what I'm. Yeah, let's go.
There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 1. Keep a tidy house for them. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 2. Be sure to clip their claws. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 3. Scoop their box daily. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 4. Brush them with a hairbrush. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 5. Don't squeeze their paws hard. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 6. Give them some fresh water. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 7. Let them have a fish. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 8. Buy them a scratching post. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 9. Put them in your lap. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 10. Be quiet when they're sleeping. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 11, whisper I love you. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 12, rub their soft belly. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 13, make sure their tail is clean. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 14, give them a yarn ball. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 15, make them a nice bed. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 16, buy him some catnip. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 17, play them some music. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 18, get them a cute collar. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 19, make sure they're vaccinated. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 20, take their picture. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 21, brush their teeth. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 22, let them watch TV. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 23, don't let them be outside by themselves. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 24, feed them some cat food. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 25, make sure their eyes are clean. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 26. Put a liner in their box. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 27. Give them a mat to wipe their feet on. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 28. Don't forget them on Christmas. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 29. Make sure they're spayed or neutered. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 30. Hold them like a baby. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 31. Let them have a towel or blanket. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 32. Keep your toilet lid down. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 33. Don't let them chew on power cords. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 34. Set them by the window. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 35. Cat-proof your home. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 36. Change their litter weekly. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 37. Praise them lavishly. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 38. Never feed him chicken bones. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 39. Teach them a funny trick. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 40. Give them a toy mouse. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 41. Clean up their hairballs. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 42. Keep them away from candles. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 43. Give him a separate zone. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 44. Never play with them aggressively. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 45. Increase his cuddle time. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 46. Be sure to watch his weight. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 47. If you leave, turn on the radio. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 48. Scold him firmly but with kindness. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 49. Respond when he meows. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 50. Give them a thing of cat grass. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 51. Scratch under his chin. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 52. Remind him that you love him. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 53. Give them a box to play in. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 54. If they're old, help them get down. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 55. Let them lick you with their rough tongue. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 56. Record precious memories. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Weigh 57. Dress them up in ribbons. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Weigh 58. Give them a flea treatment. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Weigh 59. Make a vet appointment. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Weigh 60. Give them a little wet food. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Weigh 61. When they scratch you, don't get angry. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Weigh 62. Give them some private time. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Weigh 63. Treat them with respect. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Weigh 64. When he grooms himself, say good job. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Weigh 65. Let them chase a laser pointer. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Weigh 66. Clean out their ears. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Weigh 67. Never smoke around them. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Weigh 68. Buy a sturdy cat carrier. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Weigh 69. Listen to them purr. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Weigh 70. Tempted by temptations. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Weigh 71. Give them your full attention. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 72. Don't trap them in the laundry basket. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 73. Let them sleep in bed with you. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 74. Make sure they're not locked in the closet. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 75. Don't let them play in plastic bags. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 76. Give them a massage. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 77. Touch him as you pass by. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 78. If he's on the couch, don't be mad. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 79. If they hate fans, turn the fan off. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 80. When there's a bird outside, say, hey, look. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 81. Intrigue them with a funny sound. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 82. Don't forget sardine time. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 83. Let him play with your old socks. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 84. Stroke in the direction that his fur goes. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 85. Admire his long whiskers. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 86. Keep his box away from his food. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 87. Pretend that he's a piano. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 88. Don't interrupt them while they're eating. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 89. When they're scared, go and comfort them. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 90. Let him have a lick. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 91. If their breath stinks, give them greenies. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 92. Give him a ball with a bell in it. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 93. If it's hot, put ice in their bowl. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 94. Let him drink out of the sink. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 95. Don't vacuum if it scares him. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 96. Draw a picture of him. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 97. If you drop some food, it's theirs now. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 98. Read him a book. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 99. Feed him again. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 100. Just love them every day. 100 loving ways. 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 To love. Okay. 100 ways to love a cat.
We did it.
Got through another one.
That's what we're here for.
We hope people are enjoying this.
The people that are still listening.
Don't
yes.
let us know. I like not knowing. I like the bliss of ignorance.
Things were easier that way when we just assumed that people would be listening to this before I ever looked at a printout sheet or a graph or a what do you call those?
An app.
The lines. Yes, apps. Any of those things. I just wish I didn't have them or ever looked at them.
Sometimes when you learn about things and you have some knowledge is when it all goes haywire.
It is for us anyway. And I thought we were doing the right thing, which is so odd. It's you really believe in the bottom of your heart that you are doing the right thing. You are on the right track, and it turns out you didn't have a clue. I was that way when I was 9 years old. I'm that way at my current age, which I'm not going to say out loud on here.
No, don't. No, I really am enjoying this. I'm glad. It's good to get away from the bass. I've got KP duty, so we do need to wrap it up so I can get back.
Okay. But I trust you'll be back next week while you're stationed here, and we will continue to trudge on. We're not giving up. So
if you want me to talk to any of the fellas in the unit who, have the DYNAMITE and can get plenty of it, let me know. And that's accidental.
Well, maybe we'll talk
anything,
about this.
If you look at no, this isn't. It's a little hush hush. But
this, yeah.
Just if you,
no one's listening, so go ahead. Yeah,
for the most
ahead.
part, if you
Why not?
say that you have a dynamite job, a job that requires you to use dynamite, like, I'm going to blow up some tree stumps.
Dynamite, as in literal, not like the excitable.
Yeah.
I have a dynamite job. It's
like it makes sense because you're doing renovations and you're trying to sell your castle. If you say I was trying to blow up a tree stump and I had some dynamite in the house,
well, there's no trees anywhere near. It's a moat, and after that is just more rock. It's almost like in the middle of a quarry. Almost, it's like there's no brush. There's no. I mean, I don't know how. Again, it's not my expertise, and I'm not gonna. Something else could happen where we don't have to go to the extremes.
It's just if you say I had dynamite there because I needed it for work or for groundskeeping. That's an accident because when dynamite blows up, it's almost expected. So it's like insurance wise, I think it would be. I mean, it would obviously be a real accident, but insurance wise, they're not going to think twice about it.
Huh?
That's what I'm learning. All sorts of stuff.
Well, as I would expect you would, being in the armed services, it's a whole new way of life and a lot of new information.
You didn't even say anything about my uniform.
No, you look fine in it. I mean, it fits sort of.
I didn't know they had shorts, but when it's summertime, it's mandatory.
They let you wear shorts.
But the socks come up so high. That's
right.
The weird thing.
That's what makes up for it, I suppose. But
when I make it to sergeant, I can wear whatever I want.
Air Force is, yeah.
It's different.
Yeah, it is. I'm glad it's working out for you, though. That's great. And tell your other recruits or the gentlemen that you serve with, let them know.
I don't know what we call those people.
Just let them know. I appreciate any advice that they can. For them to take the time to tell you about anything about somebody you do a podcast with is appreciated. That's all I'm saying. So, all right.
If they come by, don't tell them we do a podcast.
Okay.
We just know each other from school.
Oh, okay. Sure. But the podcast that we are doing, I guess we need to wrap it up, and we can't
Thanks.
thank you enough for listening.
Boy, we
those of you
really
still with
love
us.
this song still, and Cats, and life is funny.
So many different paths you can take, or you're forced down.
But I like that you're going on this journey with us, if anybody's out there. So thank you so much, possibly.
And some of them have gotten off, the train. Let's just say right now,
But that's fine.
There were a lot of people on this journey with us, and they determined, you know what? I don't want to
go there.
This is a horrible vacation.
Thanks.
Thank you, everyone.